Right, hello everyone and welcome back. This is the Honda 250, CB250, is it a CB250? I don't know, Café racer build. So, it's a bit weird saying hello and welcome back, but because I saw you guys on the BMW build only a few minutes ago. However, we are starting this one, so it'll be a separate video. The guy said this bike would run and ride. No, sorry, he didn't say it would ride. He said it started. And then he said it ran like crap. So I tried to start it the other day and had no luck. So I've already been contemplating whether I add a separate tank to it and start it up, or if I just fill this tank up. Now actually it's good to know if this tank is holding fuel. So I absolutely am gonna top up this tank and see if it holds fuel. I don't know how these taps work, so I'll just have to kind of try different settings. You've got left, right. I'll just try all three settings and we'll see how we go from there, and we'll see if we can just get it started. So the first thing I need to do is chuck the battery on and then top it up with fuel. I'm just going to put the whole tank in. I just top up the whole tank, put it all in, because then we let it sit overnight, and we let it sit overnight, and then we can see if it's leaking or not, and we can see if the carb's leaking or not, and so on. From there, I have ordered an original airbox, so I think it has to go on. I think it's really important that it has to. It was designed to run on that original airbox. Now we've saved so much weight by using a fiberglass tank, so it's gonna run absolutely fine. I've got no concerns about that. It has to be a reliable, good running bike. It's light. The airbox is going to be ugly, and the airbox is going to be here. So my plan is to make covers for here. So I'm going to make 2 aluminium covers for here, that shape, that and the other side. I'll probably paint them black. I might even put a stickered number on it, number 1 or something, maybe, we'll see at the time. But that's the right thing to do, I think, because also even though it's wicked smooth lines, the airbox is going to be there covering up that area. I might even leave it aluminium, like it might just have that kind of touch of roughness maybe to it. So I'm going to see. But let me throw this battery on. Should be well fully charged. I'm going to chuck the fuel in, and we're just going to see what happens from there. Got the old stand back out so we can watch a little bit more of what's going on. It'd be funny if it just started and rode perfectly and all the brakes worked and the seat was comfortable and I test rode it and it just needed no work at all, wouldn't it? It'd also be funny if I was putting fuel in and it was just coming back out. So there you go, that's 5 litres of fuel. How can it be so difficult? So I put the fuel line to down, and it did spill fuel all over me, so something's happening. Let's just turn it over and see what happens. Okay, kind of annoying actually. It fired up and seemed to rev okay. Let's check the oil before we do any more. It seems quite new. It was maybe topped up a bit high though. It does seem a bit high. Don't know. It does seem high. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. I'll let it kind of settle. There is a little bit of smoke in the exhaust. It could be that. It could be coming up the cylinder. Or should I just drop some quickly? I should drop a touch of oil really. I should get it to the right stage. We then need to wonder whether it was just topped up over or if the carbs are leaking. So I am going to drain just a little bit of oil because it's a fair amount over. Actually no. I'm going to see what this bike does. I'm going to fire it up again, get it to some sort of temperature, and attempt to take it for some sort of spin. Fair enough. I don't know what happened there, but I think we have fuel. Let me try and restrict some of the air out of curiosity. Try a different tap setting. So I don't know what's going on. Obviously we need to work out some kinks. I'm going to check and make sure that fuel is going down the tank into the carb again, and from there it's then kind of what's going on. Otherwise the whole coil system to me doesn't look great. It just looks a bit old and knackered. It'd be well worth just buying a new one. It just wouldn't hurt. It's just all old and dirty, and I mean, look, I'll clean that connector anyway. It's terrible, and we'll see. We might not be getting enough spark to actually run this kind of system. That's why. So it's well worth making sure that system's clean. And then you've got all this tape here. So I just don't know. I think 2 new coils. You'd be nuts not to go down that route. Let me go back to the bottom settings on these, because that seemed to flow. Bottom settings, because we know that we had something on that, although we could have just had old fuel, couldn't we, from someone else doing it. Again, with this old one, look, it just looks a bit knackered. So let me just clean up the fuel system a little bit. These fork seals are blown. Look, they're shot. Should have pumped them when I got it, but again, you know, I got it so cheap that it makes no difference. Yes, well, I'm going to clean up that electric system a touch, and we'll see what. So pop the spark plugs. Focus. The spark plug is black. Sorry, I don't know why we're not focusing again. This phone's starting to have it. It's black basically. There you go. And wet. So again, I probably need to drop a bit of oil, and wet is over fueling, massively over fueling, which it shouldn't be really. It should be too much air. I think someone's massively upjetted this carb by mistake to compensate for that air, and I haven't considered that. I thought I was going to throw the airbox on and it would just be okay. I think I'm going to have to figure out what the original jetting is, and yeah, and order them, because I lay any money I'll clean these spark plugs, chuck it back in, and it will fire again. But for how long, and how well will it run? If there's too much fuel going in with that much airflow, then that's nuts. It's massively overjetted. if. But yeah, for me, the best thing to do is find the original jetting, chuck in the original jet with the original airbox when it turns up, and then you're always best off in that situation, even for a calf racer. So if I'm right and it's just massively overfueling, then technically after cleaning the plugs, this bike should start up again. It should start up and it should just go back to idling until, of course, the plugs fail black again and it can't spark enough. Okay, so every now and again I get it right. What's happened there is I'm definitely going to drop some oil because of that smoke, in case there's any in the cylinders. I'm just going to drop a bit just to get it down to its right level. And it could be revving better because I've restricted air, but I doubt it. So I'm going to warm it up, drop the oil, warm it up, see how it runs with some slight air restriction. Okay, so I've dropped some of the oil. I've dropped a fair amount of oil actually. The oil from the bottom end looks brand new. It looks absolutely brand new. In fact, last owner, I think you're watching, let me know about that. But when you look in from the top, it's very frothy, and that worries me. So I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to run the bike, okay, and let it idle for a while and see kind of what happens and where it goes, and then check the plugs again. And secondly, remember I've restricted the air filter somewhat. Secondly, I'm going to pop off that air filter completely and check to make sure that there's no overflowing fuel like on the ZL600s, because that would be going into the oil and that would explain for the overfilling and the frothiness. So a couple of things can happen there. So I'm just going to idle it for a little while, give it a few minutes running. I'll rev it a little bit, maybe even take it for a quick spin, and we'll see where we go from there. The problem is, listening to the way this revs now, the jetting seems appropriate. It's still a bit smoky, but there was too much oil in there. I can't work out what's going on with this bike. Again, I'm going to give it 3, 4, 5 minutes. Oh look, it's warming up. And it's struggling. Trying to get the idle higher. Right, let me share my slight concern. So when I was under here earlier, I don't know if I can get the angle for you, but let me see if I can. When I was under here earlier, right, see this screw sticking right out here? That is the air fuel. Oh, what's this? That's, okay, so that's petrol overflow there on the floor. So the carb is spilling. Okay, so that would explain Yeah, so that will explain. So that will be going into the cylinder as well and down into the oil. Alright, so it needs some carb work. Probably a new float and the float height setting. You see that spill there? That's what that is. So where was I? Right, this sticking right out is nuts. It's meant to be 2 to 3 turns out from the inside. So yeah, like I said, being like that is crazy. What I need to do is pop this carb off, especially as we're losing. Let me see if I know what the off side is on that switch. Pop the carb off. I say pop as if it's so easy. Check the float height, see if I can adjust it a little bit, and put that. I'll set that to baseline 2.5 turns out, and we'll see if that is any better. The only way it wouldn't be is if somebody's upjetted the air fuel, not the screw, that's the screw, the actual idle jet, which could have happened, and then we'll have to consider what's going on there. So for now I'm going to try and turn the fuel off so we're not spilling too much, and then we will see. I'll pop this carb off, we'll have a quick look at it, and we'll see what's going on. To be fair, I could have driven the bike there. It would have ridden. It's the actual, the half throttle and the full throttle was absolutely fine. It's the bottom throttle, which this being out this far would explain that. That's nuts. It shouldn't be out that far. So let's see what's going on. What are we letting in when we go out that far? We are on the fuel side, actually, so we're letting in shitloads of fuel. That makes sense. To balance the air, I've restricted the air. Okay, alright. But let's get this fuel system cut off first. Okay, a couple of things I'm going to look at on this carb. Let's see what size jets we're running. Main jet is 130. Is that good or bad? I don't know. 130 for a 250. Does seem quite big, but I don't actually know what it should be. I'll clean it out anyway. 130. Carrier. Oh, the carrier's solid. If the carrier's that solid, it might not have been cleaned. So we'll have a look at the carrier jet holes. That's not bunged up at all. That's fine, I'll give it a quick clean anyway. That's fine, there's no issue there. Let's look at the... Right, so the idle jet size is 40, so I don't know what the original is. It looks clean enough actually. So for reference, idle jets is 40, main jet was 130. I'm not sure what standard is yet. Look at this air fuel mixture screw. I mean, that's nuts. I don't know what's going on there. I've never seen a screw that far out. Let's get the spring out. Let's not do what Nat did and double up on the seal once. This looks okay overall. I'll give it a clean. Right, so let me get a new can. Here's this one I made earlier. Now you have to get all the chambers, especially the air fuel screw chamber, the one we just did. So this one here, go past the seal, clean it out thoroughly. Yeah, don't get it in your eyes. This is a very important one. This is what stops the fuel flow, and that's the problem we've been having. I'm gonna actually get a what do you call it? An earbud thing. Yeah. It is a dirty carb though. I mean, it's obviously had a basic clean, but overall it is a dirty carb. Don't go into that chamber, that goes up into the diaphragm. You want to keep that clear. Right, I'm going to go and get a bud and make sure that's cleaned properly. I'll shut you off for a minute and we'll come back. So I'm going to try and show you something. Now you know I've cleaned that chamber a couple of times already with carb cleaner. Exactly what it's designed to do. There you go, carb cleaner. Now if I put this Q-tip in, I've cleaned it with carb cleaner twice, and I'm sure the guy before me has. So it shouldn't really bring any crap out. Me, we learnt a lesson there. Use the Q-tip to get it clean. I'm going to work on this for a couple of minutes, get it all clean, put it all back together. I'm not going to do much more with it today, if I'm being honest, because I just want to check. I want to try and stop it over fueling, of course. And then I'm going up to Nat after, and it's starting to rain anyway. So what can happen here? It should start. I'll throw the air cone back on. It should start, no issue. Should do. I'm going to try and start it with no air cone, and I'm going to start it with the air cone. No air cone because I want to see if there's any overspill, any fuel flowing out, and so on. I'm going to let it idle a couple of minutes, see how it revs with no cone at all, and then see if actually the restricted cone like I did works better. Remember, there's no fuel in there. Definitely early days, but there's no sign of overspill yet. That air fuel screw mixture was all the way out, and it didn't fit properly in there actually. I screwed it right back in and spaced it at its 2.5 out. It seems happier, I think. It seems happier at the moment. It's happy on a third, it's happy on half, it's happy on a, you know, on full throttle, and that's with no cone at all. I should be able to take the tape off and put the cone back on just to give it some filter. But technically, once I reconnect the clutch that I undid myself, I should be able to take this for a quick spin. Now this bike blatantly isn't ready for a test drive, but that's when you really find out what's going on. That simple carb adjustment seems to have done the trick. I'm going to take it up and down the road, see how it runs, come back and see where we go from there. So the guy I bought it off said it ran like crap. Mate, you've got to message me. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I need to kind of find out what's going on. That ran very well. It's definitely a bit smoky, but the oil was too high. That would have been oil in the cylinder. That should burn itself off. I'll be shocked because you had two-stroke bikes as well. You had a two-stroke bike, you had other bikes, you obviously worked on bikes. So I'm missing something here. It can't just be that air-fuel mixture screw being wrong. It can't. So if you're watching, message me. Just let me know kind of roughly what's going on. I'm curious, that's all. Because at the moment, that ran and rid very well. No back brake at all, guys. I need to tighten that up or change it or do whatever. Front brake's fine. Seat's uncomfortable and needs trimming down. Riding position's fine. Gear thing is annoying, but I'm sure you'll get used to it. But ultimately, I could take it for an MOT tomorrow. It's a bit smoky, but that will burn off. Currently, no more fuel overflow. I'm going to pop a plug in a minute and check. I'm going to pop a spark plug and check for colour. I have a feeling it will be okay. It won't be too dark. It shouldn't be too white. Do you know what? Let's do it. While I've got a stand now, we can just do it all up front without any messing around. Let's pop this spark plug. It's going to be well hot. Oh, it's very black. It's very, very black, very sooty. But saying that, no air filter at all. So it's still a bit rich, but again, no air filter. What? If I can restrict that air filter a little bit. That ran very well though. That's not stupidly rich. Don't know. That's hot. Ow. Yeah, I'm stupid. This fueling is very close to being correct, guys. That's my point. Whoever did that work has got it close. So we've got that air cone back on with the restriction. I'm curious. Oh, that's terrible. I mean, I don't know, guys. It rides well. It rides fine. So a tiny bit of carb cleaning and tuning, maybe, and a fully charged battery. Even the smoke is clearing up, look, because there won't be oil up in the cylinder. I don't know, I'm shocked. It's such a nice bike. Beautiful bike. We need to make that chain guard more black. Just basically spray paint. I was thinking about chopping these down, just here and here, because you don't need that for the rear. There is no rear seat. Chop there, and that'll just even it out. I don't think, or is there? I didn't realise. The exhaust note is rubbish. There isn't one, which is a shame, really. Although saying that, actually, it's also quite a good thing. You just kind of rip it. You can rip it up a bit, can't you? I don't know. I'm kind of speechless. I don't know what to do or where to go with this. I don't think it needs anything. It needs fork seals. The rear light isn't on when the normal light is on. That's an issue. That can be wiring or a bulb issue, but does work with the brake lights, so it's no major issue. The carb is not spilling over anymore. I definitely feel like it needs some restriction. I think it will look better with the side panels in silver. And the rear brake, I need to tighten up. Normally you just tighten this, but it depends on how much actual pad you've got left inside there. I can't tell. I think actually this is maxed out, so I'll need to order some rear shoes. But apart from that, look at it. Running, riding, kinda braking, changing gear, tyres are good, revs under first third, half throttle and full throttle. Still a bit smoky. I don't think there's a huge issue there, I really don't. What I'll do is next week I'll give it a proper oil change. I'll give it a full on oil change next week, some good decent oil, and put the right amount in. That should sort that out. I might get, you know, one of them wristbands, them sweatbands for the filter. That might just give it a little bit more restriction, just enough. I know the airbox is coming, but if it's not needed, it's not needed. Apart from that, there isn't anything else I can or want to or need to do to this bike. Oh yeah, fork seals. I hate upright fork seals. I can do upside down, it's easy. Upright's a pain. I might just get the shop to do it. Oh yes, I need to measure between here and here, don't I? Because technically I need to get some slightly longer shocks. I don't believe these are adjustable. We talked about smaller indicators. Yeah, if I can find the relay for these ones. And obviously the rear light needs to come on when the lights are on. I think that's it for today, guys. I started at 9 AM. I think it's 5 now. I need to book and hire a fan and start heading towards Nat at some point. It's a shame I didn't get on the ER6, but if I have that much luck as I had today with this, then this thing should be up and running tomorrow. I'll spend most of the day on this tomorrow, I think. There's another oil there that's overfilled. It happens a lot, that, and this bike's been sitting a long time. I don't know if water gets in. Oh look, we can see the exhaust a bit better today, guys. This is in bad nick here. I'll try and clean that up as much as possible. No point doing anything else on that exhaust. No point popping it off, it will snap. It's really, this bike needs new downpipes and an exhaust. But I'll put some black on it just to give it a touch more protection. It'd be nice to hear this running at some point. Okay, I think that's it for today. I think the Bandit looks great in that black blue. It's such a aggressive, brutal colour. I'm extremely pleased with the Café. So pleased. I don't even know where to go with it. Oh yes, I've got to measure the rear shocks, keep forgetting that. And then check out the rear light, make sure that works properly. It might just be a bulb issue. And order some fork seals for it. And work out what to do with the fork seals. Someone said drop the front more. Nah, lift the back more. Because look at the stance from here. Definitely lift the back more, a bit more, and just make it a bit more aggressive. That's the way to go. Everything else on this bike is new. Brakes are fine. Front, that chain and sprocket look pretty much brand new. Tyres look pretty much brand new. I'll order some oil for it. I was going to say air filter, but it doesn't have one, although I've got the airbox coming, don't I? Stunning, stunning. I've done loads of work today, loads of filming, guys. Please comment, share, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. Let me know what you want me to do with this bike, because I don't know yet. I want to do smaller indicators, but I'd have to find the relay. I don't know if it's 2-pin, 3-pin, and I'd need to get an LED relay for it. I don't hate the big indicators up the front. I do hate the big indicators at the back. Here we go, guys. To end today's video, I am at Nat's house, dropping off the ZL600. He's wanted to do this one for a while, and I've had enough of this. I've had carbs off and on so many times. I'm going to explain a little bit about where it kind of went wrong for me. Originally, this was, I believe it was upjetted by something like 20, and it never had a reason for that. Someone just did a completely bad job. So I was trying to tune this bike by upjetting and downjetting when we were already something like 20 out, and that's where a lot of the issues came from. So once I realised I had to go to stock, once I realised stock was a lot lower, I then put it back to stock and got it up and running well. The only thing I couldn't then do was the carbs just kept overflowing, and I kept buying little pieces of jets and needles here and there, and really I should have just bought full rebuild kits and got on with it, which is what Nat's done actually. He's got rebuild kits. So yeah, we're handing this one over. Alright, Nat's gonna have a go, and I reckon he'll get it done.